Let's talk about the top 10 multichrome eyeshadows that launched in 2023. Now these are going to be in ranking order, so 10th to 1st place. And I picked these based on a few different factors. One of which is which ones were the most memorable, which ones are the most popular, like they sold out. People were continuously talking about them throughout the year. You may recognize some of the shades already in here just from looking at the pans. Obviously, this is based on my observation, and I'm sure that other people would think differently, would rank these differently, but this is just how I'm ranking them personally. And also some of these are my favorite, so let's get right into it. In 10th place is Terra Halley's Comet. And this one, just the moment I swatched it, it was such a beautiful, extra sparkly, very PC kind of feeling, luxury feeling eyeshadow. There's just something about this one. The pigment particles feel different from the usual Terra eyeshadows. And I don't think it necessarily it's the formula, I do think it's the pigment. It's essentially a really beautiful pink, kind of duochrome, shifty multichrome with lots of blue reflex throughout it, as you can see. It is so extremely sparkly. There's just something about this pigment. It just really stood out to me, and I loved it ever since I used it. It is just so extra glitzy and very, very dimensional. Great one and done kind of shadow. So the base is pink, and then I do see a bluey purple shift, and then straight on it does have lots of blue sparkles throughout. In 9th place is Proxima, also from Terra. So this one is definitely flakier. And there's just something very beautiful and vibrant about it. Not the most easy to use, but nevertheless, it is extra, extra special. And I am swatching these over no primer, just dry on my hand. So this one is pretty sheer because of the flakiness, but you could definitely layer it a little bit more. But it is layerable, especially if you use a tacky primer, you can get it to be a bit more opaque. So here's a second layer. Look at that really beautiful, super vibrant orange shift from like a really beautiful bright pink. It is such a stunning standout shade. In 8th place is Half Sea Fog from Devinah. Super, super beautiful. This one is such a great grungy, greenish based multichrome with purple reflect straight on, and it is that gorgeous Devinah signature formula, so it's extra smooth and extra sparkly. This one also can be sheared out or built up a little bit depending on how you use it. So here it is, just with one layer and second layer. And again, you can get this a bit more opaque over a tacky primer, which they did just launch a shimmer shadow primer. So here's a second layer, so it has that green base to it, and then straight on it's purple. In 7th place is Eris from Terra. This one is also flakier, as you can see in the pan, and the shift is just so obvious. You can easily see it even just in the pan. And this one is a sheerer shadow because again it is flaky. Here is how it picks up, just to give you an idea. It's pretty chunky, but it does smooth out, but you do need that pressure, so I do prefer to apply these kinds of shadows with my finger because I can just control the pressure and really smooth it out on the lid. And I mean, just look at this. It is so extra beautiful, reflective, sparkly, and very special. There's a lot of different colors happening. There's a teal base with a pink and orange shift in it. Super, super beautiful. In 6th place is Radiance from Clionadh, and this one just completely stole my heart. I mean, you could just see how absolutely smooth and metallic it looks even just in the pan. This is such a spectacular shade. This one is a little bit harder to dupe out for sure. So this one is a bit more unique, especially to my collection. And I have tons of iridescent multichromes, so I was very excited to see this one. And this is how smooth it looks, especially compared to the shade right before this one. And this one just gives a really beautiful sheen. There's blue, purple, and green, teal. There's so much happening in here. Texture-wise, it's most similar to Saltwater Pearl from the Deep Sea Treasures palette that they also launched this year. And I do believe that they're going to have more shades coming in this formula in 2024. It definitely feels and looks different from all their other iridescent multichromes. They have some flaky shades, they have some more satin-like shades as well. So they have like a really nice spectrum. We have in 5th place, I put Thusa from Devinah Cosmetics. I Love this shade so much. I cannot get enough of this shade. Again, this is one of those shades that I think just captured a lot of people's hearts. It is just magical. It's so dimensional. It is so smooth and so shiny and sparkly at the same time, and you can just really recognize it anywhere. So there's like a bright green, then there's purple, there's pink, there's green, and this formula does feel a bit different. For Devinah, it could be the pigment, so it doesn't necessarily feel like drier-ish like their regular sparkly formula. This one feels just a little bit more almost slick, but not wet or squishy or anything. This one is a beauty, definitely one of the first shades that came to my mind when I decided I wanted to do this video. In fourth place is Ferric from Clionadh. This is one of their new formulas that they introduced in 2024. It is the Dimensional Multichromes formula. And this one, just everyone was talking about it. Everyone was captured by it. It was definitely because it is a more neutral kind of multichrome, but it's extremely everyday wearable and sparkly and shifty, and it just really has everything going for it. I believe it sold out, and again, it's just one of those shades that people just were really excited to see, and was definitely the one that everyone wanted to get from the, I believe there was like 6 other shades that launched with this one. So I don't remember if I was recording the swatch portion, but here is just one layer, again dry swatched, and I mean, look at that. This is perfect shade to pair with any neutral mattes, and it is just so dimensional and so special. So let me add another layer just so you can see that you can build it up a little bit more. Maybe you want to use it as a one-and-done shadow, or maybe you do want to add a little bit more oomph. So it is a little bit workable, but again, it is a little bit, just a little bit flakier than usual from them. So I would recommend a tacky primer with this one for sure. In third place is Ice Blink from ShineBySD in collaboration with my Multichrome bestie, Seeking Shift, aka Riley. And this was part of the Earthborn collection that she created this year. And let me tell you, the chokehold this shade has on the indie beauty single eyeshadow multichrome sparkly shifty shiny beauty loving community. I believe it has sold out numerous times, and it just keeps having to get restocked. People love this one, and for good reason. It is such a special, beautiful, glistening, piecey kind of eyeshadow. It's very much a sheer topper-like shadow, and it just has so many sparkles throughout it, but it has like a really spicy orangey base to it with all those sparkles. So you can layer this on top of eyeshadows. You can also just use this as a great one and done shadow. This one is just such a stunner, and I think it has become a staple for a lot of people. In second place, we have Leon from Odin's Eye, and this one is probably one of the most polarizing single eyeshadows from 2023 because there is so much like mixed feedback on this shade. It is so beautifully true, vibrant, bright red with a black base to it. And while I don't think necessarily it's completely a multichrome, Odin's Eye does categorize it under that, and I'm sure that the pigment is very expensive, as I mean, look at this, it is so beautiful. So you can really see the flashes of the black in there, but otherwise, like, I don't really see any other shifts. So I just really see the black to red, but it's quite different from the other shades that we have seen that go from black to red. This one goes from more like red to black. And the reason this one is so controversial because the formula, when it first launched, was very kind of oily, and a lot of people had creasing issues with it, including myself. As much as I absolutely love this color, and nothing has quite come out that is a dupe for this shade, which is pretty unheard of at this point. We see a lot of brands coming out, you know, they have access to the same pigments, but I have yet to see a complete dupe come out to this. There has been quite a few multichrome red shadows that have come out, but none of them are just this true red. So here's just one layer of it, and this is again part of the controversy around this shade. It's honestly, when I first swatched it, I was like, oh, this is beautiful. And I put it on the lid and I was like, I feel like it doesn't look quite the same. I feel like you need to work it a little bit. Here's a second layer, and I also definitely think that it would benefit from some sort of a tacky primer or a dampened brush to just really get it to layer, because it does have that black base to it, and you can really see it on the edges. And you can really see that base in there. And these kinds of shades you definitely don't want to really blend out too much. And here you can see the shift in there. So it's not like the most shiftiest by any means, but it is so beautiful, very smooth, very vibrant, and a lot of people love this one. You know, not everyone has creasing issues. I also have a dedicated video where I bought the shadow from their restock to just see if there was a difference in formulation, if they updated it, and I do believe there was somewhat of a refinement done, though they say that it's remained the same, but also discrepancies in formulas are just bound to happen between batches. You're either a lover and a huge fan of the shade, or you're not. I love it. I appreciate for what it is, and I'm glad I have it in my collection. And in first place, I decided on Mural from Clionadh. It really speaks for itself. I feel like I don't really have to say much. It is such a stunning shadow. It is so popular amongst many people. I really think this is one of those shades that people can just name off the top of their head as part of the Clionadh Multichrome lineup. The shade is also part of their new formula that they have added to the stained glass collection. This one is an electric multichrome, so it's extremely vibrant but very smooth. If I lost this eyeshadow, if something happened to it and it broke and I just lost everything, broke it to a million pieces and the wind blew it away, you best believe I would be repurchasing the shade. I do not see my collection complete without the shade. It is such a standout with that teal grungy base and the pink gold shift in it. Now there are some other shades that are definitely similar to this one that have launched, including some from Terra, but I think because this one is not flaky, it's definitely much more usable and user friendly. And I mean, I could go on and on, but this shade is for sure a cult favorite when it comes to multichromes. I did receive most of these in PR with the exception of Half Sea Fog and Thusa from Devinah. I did purchase that one. And then Leon I was originally sent by Odenside, but I did also later on purchase it during a restock. So there you have it. Those are the top 10 multichromes, in my opinion, of 2023. Let me know in the comments below what your top multichrome that launched in 2023 is. And if you agree, do you disagree with my ranking? I do think that Mural and Leon could probably switch in between because I do feel like those two are some of the most talked about multichromes to this day, and I'm sure it will continue into 2024. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.